our previous not a disease. It says it's reversible.
Addiction's not a
So
disease.
she has a reversible shirt that says on one side, addiction is not a disease, and then when you reverse it, it says addiction is a disease.
So I said,
Clever.
what the fuck does it matter either way?
And I said, I don't really care either way too, but it's a big thing that I've heard a lot of people, debate rigorously and pretty hardcore debates about whether addiction is a disease or not. Here's a quick little interesting fact that I found this morning. 70% of adults in Kentucky think that it is a disease, that addiction is a disease. Same poll was taken
Which is fine.
in Ohio. 3 out of 10 adults in Ohio believe that addiction is not a disease. So that's a very big number there. I mean, you're talking 70%. So 7 out of 10 people in Kentucky, adults, believe that addiction is a disease. And 3 out of 10 in Ohio believe that it is not a disease. So obviously that proves that there's quite a division.
Is that a political, religious division? Because we don't believe it's a disease type of a thing because you should just be able to quit whenever you want. I don't know. It sounds like weird that it would be.
Well, I think that's part of
in two different.
Part of the argument of that it's not a disease is that it's your choice. You can stop whenever you want. You made the decision to do this. You made the decision to throw your life away. You made the decision to be an addict.
Right.
That type of thing. And then the other side of the argument is, I can only speak for myself. I liked playing with matches when I was a kid. I liked doing things, the feeling of getting away with something. Like, I was addicted to danger and anger before I was addicted to before any substance came in my body.
Right.
So was I a little addict already?
You might be.
I believe I was. So was it a disease? Plus, okay, Wikipedia describes if it's a disease or not as addiction is a brain disorder that's characterized by compulsive engagement, rewarding stimuli despite adverse consequences. I'll say that one more time. Addiction is a brain disorder characterized by compulsive engagement, rewarding stimuli despite adverse consequences. It's a great definition if you break down the definition. I'm going to say it in layman's terms. It's a brain disorder that makes you do compulsive things. You get rewarded for the stimuli you feel, despite the fact that it ruins everything else in your life. That's really accurate.
Right, but it doesn't ruin everything in your life from the get-go.
Correct.
That would be easy to quit.
And it was fun in the beginning.
So
for most people.
The fact that it really doesn't ruin anything till a lot of times 30 years down the road didn't fucking ruin anything.
Well,
so that's kind of something that needs to get thrown in there, that it's that whole ruins everything part. If it did that from the get-go, that's one thing.
Right. Well,
that'd be easy to be like, fuck, what did I do?
I see what you're saying.
Sucked.
Mike,
right?
the high school kid's not going to smoke the joint for the first time and then the world around him collapses. I completely agree. But the drug game has changed, Mike. So a kid can experiment one time and there be fentanyl in it and he dies from one time.
True.
There also could be a kid, if you and I decided today, we're going to try to smoke Flocka.
Addiction didn't make his
We could be
life.
smoking Flocka one time as an experiment, Mike, and you and I will be running down the street naked trying to eat people's faces.
Right, that's poisoning.
Right, but I'm saying because...
So is the fentanyl one that you said. That's poisoning.
These new
addiction.
synthetic drugs, though, you could try them one time and you're going to have a life or death, potentially, result.
Right, so that's accidental poisoning. It's not addiction.
Okay.
In my opinion.
No, I agree. Well, that's also why they say it's a progressive illness.
So you could definitely shoot heroin with no fentanyl for 5 years straight and have zero consequences.
Wait a second, there's heroin still without fentanyl?
I'm just saying. It doesn't...
He's got a time machine that takes him back to the 90s.
I'm just saying, it doesn't immediately ruin your life. That'd be
you're
easy to quit. You can, most things, even heroin, if you have a real job and you've got some way to, I'm just saying, you
To
could
support
do
it.
for 5 years without going
Yes.
off the rails and having to have heroin every fucking 2 hours.
Yes.
You could keep your life going for years.
Your concept is more right than wrong, Mike.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you go to any open discussion meeting of an AA or an NA meeting, and you hear an open discussion of somebody telling their experience, strength, and hope, when they're telling their experience, 8 out of 10 people, in my experience, say it was fun at first.
Right.
Listen,
Or it helped with other
I'm
things.
a real alcoholic, Mike. Like, I was that kid that, like, just couldn't hit the off switch. And then when I couldn't put the plug in the jug, all the bad decisions came after that. But it was fun at first.
Right.
I mean, my early 20s, yeah, I was reckless. Yeah, I was dangerous. Yeah, all those things. But it wasn't, I hadn't come to the consequences yet.
Right.
I was building up those consequences.
Well, right.
But I was having a blast. I mean, I would be a bold-faced liar if I sat and said that, you know, doing acid and stuff like that in high school wasn't fun. It was bad. Looking back, I still feel like sometimes my brain doesn't work right, Mike, and I'm like, oh, that's a consequence. You know what I mean? That's a consequence.
Mine's fucked.
Or like
My brain's fucked.
right, mine too. Or like how I think about certain shit. I'm like, I'm so eaten up from like my past. Or I'll be like, I can memorize a Shakespeare play and recite. I can memorize. You've seen me memorize stuff quick, but I lose. But when I leave the office every day, how many times do I come back? Because I'll leave my sunglasses,
Yeah.
or I'll leave my keys, or I'll leave my phone.
I lose train of thought. Is mostly my main consequence. Is like I'm speaking about something and then I just fucking lose.
You're in the middle and you just trail off somewhere.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I don't like.
That's definitely a reaction
I
to
don't like it.
to the damage of our past.
Yeah.
You know.
I think, to me, the whole getting back to the disease thing,
Mhm.
to me, I say, who cares if it is or it isn't? That's only coming from somewhere that I'm at right
from
now.
where you're at, right?
From where I'm at right now,
Yes.
I say, who gives a shit? Doesn't ma- Why do I care if it's a disease or if it's not a fucking disease?
Right.
It doesn't really matter.
But let me throw this at you, Mike. Where you're at is on a platform that reaches a lot of people. So,
Right.
yes, where you're at as a person,
Yeah.
not the podcast host, as Mike as a person.
Yeah.
But there's still a great number of people out there that are going to sit there and not give the person a chance to turn their life around because they're going, you made, you know, yes, we made the decisions. Yes, 99% of anything bad that ever happened to me, I had a piece of it. And I have to own that piece. But
What's the disease part?
the disease part is the chemical difference in the brain of an addict versus someone that doesn't have that. Here's the difference. If there's a kid tonight that can go out and get hammered and do cocaine in his car outside the bar and wake up tomorrow and not need to do it again and live his life with no consequences,
Right.
and
Like
he
most normal people.
like a normal person, God bless that kid. Have fun. I am not that kid. Because it won't stop there. I might be able to go tonight and go get hammered and have cocaine in my whatever at the bar. And I might be able to do it once, twice maybe, and get away with it. I'm going to keep going back to feed the beast. That's the problem.
Okay, so
Like hogs go to slaughter type of thing, and pigs are well fed. A normal person can just get what they need and move on. We're hogs, us addicts. We want it all. Rah, rah, rah. We go to slaughter because of it, because we get too fat in it.
let's say I am a
That's that off switch
active
not
user.
going off.
If I'm actively using heroin
Okay.
or whatever, opiates, and I have insurance, and I know that all I need to do is make a phone call, and I'm fucking gonna be able to stop using. Why is that decision not to make that phone call a disease? It's just a fucking decision. You're just fucking up
It's
again.
not just a decision though, because listen,
I'm just saying.
and this is a good topic. Most people, I think, when they're walking into their first meeting, life's over. Life's over. First of all, for me, I couldn't do anything without alcohol. If we were going swimming in the pool, Mike, what are we drinking, smoking, snorting? If we're going to the movies, what are we drinking, smoking, snorting? Sex, art, going to do literally anything. We're going to the grocery store, what are we smoking, drinking, snorting? I associated every single activity in a life with substance being involved. So when I thought of going to a room where the substance is no longer, life in this room now has no more substance. I don't know what life is like that. So for me, I'm like, it's all downhill from here. I deserve this. Here's the downslope of me in AA or NA forever. And I was wrong. So that's why.
I'm not saying it is or it isn't, because I don't really have, I'm just, right, so I don't
That's
really have
why
a
it's
position.
more than just
My
it's more than
position
just a
is-
decision. It's more than just a decision.
I say I don't think it matters if it is or isn't, to me.
And just
It
like
doesn't matter.
And just like the night before rehab is one of the most dangerous nights for an addict. If we're a heroin couple, which how many of those have we seen, Mike? And it's tomorrow is Monday, okay. Mike, tomorrow we're going to rehab. What do you think's going down in the hotel on Sunday night? We're gonna go balls to the wall. We're gonna try to get as high as possible without dying.
Right, but sometimes
How many kids
people
die the night
confuse
before
it
rehab?
As a reason, you could be like, okay, well, I had a disease. Okay, well, you cheated on your wife fucking 400 times. I had a disease. Look, I had a fucking disease. I'm just saying. You know,
What do you mean, like a sex addiction or
or
something?
whatever.
You're like, look,
Yeah,
I had a sex
disease.
addiction.
I'm-
I see what you're saying, Mike, and it's a valid point.
Fucking take responsibility for what you did. Fucking move on and start your life over again.
Guys, obviously, look, what Mike and I realized, and what we started by saying, we don't understand how people can debate this. Look, we're already starting to get into this debate. So we want to hear from you. Make sure that you comment below. Is addiction a disease or is it not a disease? We want to hear from you. Make sure you like our page, subscribe, please. Watch other content. Give us feedback. This is a big one, though. We want to know what you guys
I
think.
hear you.
We're going to do a follow-up video of this really
think
soon
That
with more research involved.
yeah, more research involved. So the other
Oh, yeah, back to the
Point to
t-shirt.
that.
Back to the
no,
t-shirt.
forget the t-shirt. Yeah, the other t-shirt.
The other
So
t-shirt.
to me,
Hannah Marks, you got us debating.
you're right.
Gotta give her a shout
Hannah
out.
Marks with her other t-shirt says Kava gets you high.
Kava gets you high.
I never tried Kava,
I did.
but I will say that
But I think it had kratom in it, too.
if you're an opiate addict and you've tried 12-step programs already, and you've tried whatever other fucking rehab programs already,
Smart recovery.
then whatever you
Celebrate
tried,
recovery.
and that shit isn't working for you, because if it doesn't only works for what, 5% of the people, right?
Everybody's
That number?
program looks different.
Yeah, so let's say it works 10% of the time. So those other
I think that's probably high.
90% of the
Probably not that
opiate addicts, which means heroin, pain pills, all that, there's a natural substance that's out there that you can buy that will take your withdrawals away. It will kratom. You go buy some. You won't have withdrawals. You won't be in withdrawals. You won't have cravings. You're be basically normal.
Okay, asterisk on this. This is Michael Stone's opinion
My opinion.
because of his personal experience.
Right,
I was not an opiate guy,
right,
so I cannot speak on this subject.
right.
So this is
there's-
his opinion.
Right. There's a natural
Not mine.
substance out there readily available that you can quit using heroin and pain pills. Simple, like that.
Here's devil's advocate on that, because I have to play devil's advocate, okay? This is my concern. And again, this is coming from somebody that's not an opiate guy.
Yeah.
I tried Kava one time years ago and it made me nauseous and I never
Yeah,
went.
I never tried
And I
Kava.
never did it again. Okay, so I don't know. I know enough to know I don't know much about the subject. Okay? But here's my concern. Kratom gets expensive, yes?
Somewhat.
Okay, here.
If you have a job,
so
it'll allow you to get a real job and fucking work. That covers it.
that sounds, Mike. Not everybody thinks like you.
I'm just saying.
So here's my concern. Follow me down this hole real quick.
Doesn't get that expensive.
Kratom gets expensive for your average heroin user, ex-heroin user that's living in a halfway house that can't afford cigarettes barely, is going to have a hard time paying for kratom. So here's my concern: the kid starts doing kratom, it starts working for him as far as killing the cravings or whatever.
Right.
Then he's going.
You don't even think about using fucking.
Then he's
opiates.
going. This is getting expensive over time. Then that voice starts talking to him, the disease, or not the disease. We want to know what you think. Starts talking to him, and says, "F it, man.
No, my experience
Go down the
is
street
you don't
and
think
get a
about
$10 bag.
It doesn't
Just go
even-
get a $20 bag
I
because
think-
it's a lot less expensive than kratom. That's my
that
worry.
could be true,
That's
but
my worry.
my experience would be you don't even think about using heroin or pain pills.
You
It
didn't.
doesn't even come into your mind.
I'm like, you didn't.
That's true.
You are not the average bear, brother.
That could. Some people it could, depending on maybe who you're around and what you're around, but you don't have a craving to use pain pills. It doesn't, you don't have thoughts. Some people might. Most people, you don't even have thoughts about, I want to get some fucking heroin or pain pills. Those thoughts don't come into your head. So, okay, you've got Suboxone, Subutex, all these things that the insurance companies
Also
want you to
very
start
expensive.
taking.
Also
Right.
very expensive.
Expensive, addicting.
Highly addictive, and the withdrawal is worse
Withdrawal
than
is
heroin.
worse
Yes.
than kratom or heroin.
Yes.
So let's
Well, I don't know
just
about
say, as opposed to getting on medication for opiate addiction, like Subutex and that kind of shit,
Mm.
kratom, okay, it's natural. It works better than fucking Suboxone, I'm telling you.
I've
That's
heard that.
me telling you.
I've heard that as well.
And
From other people.
It doesn't cost as much as Subutex or Suboxone. It's not free, obviously. You're going to need to get a
But
fucking
less
job.
expensive, I'm
But
sure.
it allows you to be a productive member of society, absolutely, every day for the rest of your life. And there's nothing that you can't really do on it. It's just not free. That's all. But Suboxone and Subutex, that shit isn't free either.
Guys, if you look for yourself like I did when I first started talking about, when I first found out about how it helped Mike, I researched a little bit and I found that there's a lot of people out there that had the same experience that Mike had. So, again, Mike went through it, experienced it himself. I did not. It's Mike's opinion.
Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I did.
Yeah.
But do a little research because what I found out is a lot of people had the similar
You can
experience.
get addicted to it.
as
okay.
Mike.
You're addicted to Subutex and you're addicted to fucking Suboxone. That's my the fact that you can get addicted to kratom is nonsense. You can.
You get addicted to
But you
almost
fucking
anything.
you're addicted to Subutex and Suboxone.
Do you see me with one of these every day?
Right. You're addicted to fucking caffeine. I am.
I definitely am. I get headaches if I don't.
And you don't. And Subutex
I have
and Suboxone.
I have a physical thing that happens if I don't have my coffee.
Those get you a little bit high.
Yeah.
Kratom gets you a little teeny bit
Nicotine.
of a mood
Nicotine
change
gets
like
you high.
caffeine does. And you can get addicted to it.
Mm.
But what the fuck does that matter? Who gives a fuck? You can get addicted to Subutex and Suboxone.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a huge. It takes people years to get off of it. I mean, we
So
knew
that's all I'm
treatment.
saying. I get pretty worked
The
up
weaning-
over it.
the
'Cause to
weaning
me, it's
process.
nonsense.
But going back to the Subutex and Suboxone, you and I know from our past working experience in treatment, the weaning off process
Right.
is so long. Like
Yeah.
it takes. Like if I came in as a
Kratom
kid,
doesn't have that. You'll have
right.
some withdrawals, no doubt,
But not
nothing
near-
like
yeah.
what the insurance company wants you to take.
not anywhere near the same. I
Right.
mean, I'm talking kids would come in on 12 milligrams or whatever,
Right.
and then it would like take a few months for them to be on 8. Then it would take a few months for them to be on 6 or 4. Then it would take a few months for them to be on 4 or 2. Then it would take a few months for them to be on 2.
It's much harder.
I mean, you're talking like years sometimes. Years.
So to me, there's not even a question about it. What's better, in my opinion?
Yeah.
There's no fucking question other than the insurance companies and the drug rehab industry is anti-kratom. Okay, whatever. I'm still saying that
Well,
doesn't change the facts.
What Big Pharma's anti it is what you're
Right,
saying.
Big
Look,
Pharma.
I think here's the bottom
Doesn't
line.
change the facts.
You've got one is natural
Yeah.
and one is synthetic chemical.
Right. And
So-
one's way more fucking addictive.
So
Both
natural
are
is
addictive.
always the way to
I'm
go.
just saying, right, you can be addicted to kratom, but who gives a fuck? What does it matter? It doesn't. What's the difference? The other thing is way worse.
So guys, going back to the kratom thing too, I want to know in the comments below. We're going back to the main question was: is addiction a disease or not a disease? I also want to know what your thoughts on kratom are, specifically for someone coming off of opiate abuse. And does kava get you high? Want to know what?
I have no idea. But I will
Neither
say
do I, but
I'm
we wanna
not
know.
a proponent of people just using kratom who weren't addicts.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
who aren't opiate addicts. I'm not a proponent of like just a normal person going out and getting kratom.
Yeah, because then why? Because why are you doing it?
That's
Then you're out there chasing a buzz.
Yeah, I'm not a proponent of that.
But I want to know if you think that kava gets you high or not, because this is another huge thing that's debated in a lot of people.
That T-shirt was weird because I never tried the kava, so I don't know.
She got another one that says, "I have Narcan."
But to me, it's the same people. The same people are going to talk about kava getting you high, are going to say kratom, oh, it's so bad, and I'm going to say nonsense, bullshit. That's all I'm saying.
Guys, we want to hear what you think. Put your comments down below. Don't forget to check out our other content because we do, and we want to bring you a lot of controversial stuff where we hear what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Recovery Share, your online source for all things addiction and recovery. We'll see you next time.